What it do, baby? It's Jason from Promotion Media Group and Dominate Digital Marketing, back again with another tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a blog in Webflow using CMS Collection Lists, as well as design your blog landing page and your blog post template where each of your individual articles will live. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so that you can stay tuned for more digital marketing tutorials like this one. Let's go. Okay, this is for a client of ours down in Southwest Oklahoma called Luxe Fencing. Obviously is a fencing contractor. We've already got our basic site build set up for them. And here's how we can navigate to our CMS collection list to start building out our blog posts. Okay, so from inside the design screen, you can go up here to CMS. If you're working off of a template inside Webflow, you may already have a blog post collection in your CMS section. It may default for some of you to already have a blog post CMS collection, but if you don't have one already, you can just click this plus sign to create a new collection. You can name it whatever you want to name it, okay? I created this one already. It's called blog posts. You can click the settings wheel to change the fields that you want to be present in each blog post as you add a new one, but the collection has to be created first before you can add elements within that collection. Okay. Since these are already created, I'll show you a couple of the blog articles and how they look. Okay. In order to add a new post inside the collection, just click New Blog Post. Okay. If you want to edit any of yours, just select the one that you already have published. Okay. You'll see all of the details, the title, the slug, which is going to be the URL that the user can find the post on, all the way down to post date, image. Post summary is an important detail for us because of how we're going to design our blog landing page on the site here in just a second. It doesn't default to be required, but inside your collection settings, you can make it required if you want to do that by just coming to post summary and clicking this field is required. Okay, back into the individual article, you'll see where the body of the post is there and then all the details, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add a new one. It's going to give you this blank canvas here to work with. I like to use ChatGPT to write my blogs. Some may think it's cheating. I don't really care. It's really just a tool for us. I don't necessarily care if anyone reads the blog. It's just a service that we provide our clients to keep fresh content posted to their page with relevant key terms that help with SEO. Okay, so obviously we don't want any bad information to be in there, but it's really just a tool for us to get more relevant text present on the site and to keep content refreshing for search engines. Okay. So as with any AI tool that you use, you definitely want to proofread it and make sure that it's accurate and it's got all the things in there. But I'll show you the prompt that I use to have blog posts written. Write me 2 full generic blog posts. Use verbiage that's SEO effective. Okay, ChatGPT is going to write it for me. Saves me a ton of time. I don't have to think about topics. I don't have to spend the time actually typing it out. And it's going to be in a format that's very easily copy and pastable, if that's a word. Okay? You guys can come for me if you want for cheating, but I fully believe in work smarter, not harder, and use the most efficient process that works for you to get your job done quicker. Now, AI is not the end-all, be-all. It's not going to solve all your problems. It is just a tool to make your life easier, and it's only as good as the person using it, much like a sniper rifle. A sniper rifle doesn't shoot itself effectively, has to have a trained sniper who knows what he's doing and is proficient at his job in order to hit his target. Okay? Just wanted to address all you AI haters out there because I'm an AI fanatic. I love to use tools that make my job easier, and I just saved who knows how many minutes by having a couple of blog posts written for me. But obviously you can write them yourself if you want to. Okay? All I'm going to do is proofread, number 1, and then copy and paste into my CMS collection item. Okay? Copy the title. Go back to this other tab, paste the title. You'll see the slug is already placed in there automatically. Whatever publish date you want it to publish, you can put there. Now, this isn't going to schedule it. You schedule it elsewhere, but this is what's going to be listed on the article as the post date. Okay, I am going to show you another trick that I have here. When you come to publishing blogs, and this will make more sense when we get to the blog landing page and how we're going to design that. But here's an important detail if you want your blog page designed to look clean and aligned properly. You want to make sure all of your post images are the same size. Okay, so what I like to do is use Canva to resize all of the images that I'm going to use for each individual blog post. Make sure that they're all the same dimensions. I open a new canvas inside Canva of 500 by 500 pixels, and then I go find my picture that I want to feature in this particular blog post, and I'll just resize it. in Canva and then save it again. Okay, put my picture in there. Just gonna size it and position it the way that I want. Okay, I'm gonna name it whatever, number 1, and download it. Okay, once that image is saved, I'm gonna come back over here and I'm going to click and add it. Okay, that's 500 by 500. It's exactly what we want. I'll go back to my ChatGPT tab. I'm gonna grab the first paragraph, the introductory paragraph, and I'm gonna use that for post summary. And I'm gonna go back and copy the body, paste it in there, and we are done with that particular post. Okay, I already had these first 2 blogs published, but I want to change the image on them because as you'll see, this one is 2000 by 2000. That was the size I was using before, but I want to use a smaller size this time. So I'm going to go back into Canva and I'm going to resize that original image to 500 by 500. Okay, once that's saved, I'll just go back to this image and click replace and add the one I want, 500 by 500. We're good. Publish now. And I'll go back to the first one and do the same thing. Okay, it will make a little more sense on why these have to be the same size or should be the same size once we get to designing the blog landing page here in just a minute. Okay, that's done. Go to replace and select it. Make sure you publish now. Okay, and I'm going to add my 4th one. New post. Back to ChatGPT, copy the title. Post date can be the following Friday. Post image. I don't have a 4th one yet, so I'm going to create one. Okay, that's saved. Click to select image. Place your image in there. Back to ChatGPT to grab the summary paragraph. Copy, paste. Back to ChatGPT to copy the body. ChatGPT will always give you like an introductory paragraph. Well, not always, but sometimes they'll give you an introductory paragraph like this. After your prompt, it'll tell you, great, I got it. Here's what you asked for. Make sure you don't copy that. Same thing with the bottom. It's going to ask you, do you want me to expound on this with XYZ? Don't copy that into your blog. And make sure you pay attention. Paste it in there and publish. Okay, now we have 4 posts published inside our blog post CMS collection, but they aren't visible anywhere yet. So what we're going to do is go back to our design and design our blog landing page and then design our blog post templates page. The cool thing about doing it like this, the reason that Webflow has it designed this way is because they're all part of the same list, all we have to do is design one of them visually, and that design applies to all of them all at once. You don't have to go through each post and make the design specific to each one. It will automatically be applied there. Okay, so we go back to design, and then up here on the page selector, we can select where it says home and go to our blog page. It's blank right now, so we're going to design it from scratch. Okay, we already have navigation, headers, and footers in our components library because we designed those when we first designed the site. And we want those to be the same because we've already saved them the way that we like them. We want them to be consistent from page to page, so we're not going to design it from scratch again. Why would we? We've already got it designed. Okay, so we're going to select header, places it there, go back to components, select footer, places it there. Okay, we're going to go to add elements, or if you want a shortcut, you can do Command or Control E to find anything. I'm going to place a section onto the page. It put it at the bottom, so I want to put it in between header and footer. Now with selection selected, I can do Command E and do container. I like to format my containers to be a max width of 90%. And then with container selected, we are going to add a heading. Okay? You can format this heading to be any of the 6 that you have and style them any way you want them to be styled. We're going to leave it heading 1. We're going to call it blog. Okay, I am going to wrap this in a div block by right-clicking heading 1 and clicking wrap in div block. Now with div block selected, I'm going to center this. Okay? Now, also with div block selected, I'm going to add a collection list. Okay, so it puts this default collection list wrapper placeholder in place for you. You see collection item 1, collection item 2, collection item 3. What we're going to do is we're going to double click to connect this collection list to our blog post. We do that by double clicking, coming over here to source where it says none, clicking the drop down and going to blog posts under CMS collections. Okay, you see how all of those titles automatically connect to the blog post article titles that we just created inside our CMS collection list. Okay, so it's connected now, but now we have to put elements into this placeholder, like the text and the image and things like that we're going to use to design it. It's connected already, but there's nothing on the page for the viewer to click on or see or scroll through. Okay, so now we have to add the elements to that. First thing we're going to do is right-click this collection item. Oops, sorry. If you ever get kind of hung up on where the list of elements is and how to get from collection item to div block to whatever the case, you can just come over here to this navigator and expand that. Okay, with collection items selected, I'm just going to Command E and look for div. Now each of the listed items have its own div block. Okay, from inside div block, I'm going to add an image, but I don't want this one centered. So I'm going to move that back over to the left. Also with div block collected, I'm going to add a heading, but I'm going to make it 8.5 because I want it to be a little smaller. Okay, and then I'm going to add a paragraph. Okay, so now you see that all of those elements have been added to each of the 4 blog posts we have in our collection list, but they're all defaulted to say nothing right now. So what we want to do is select each element and connect it to the media and the text content that we already have published on each blog. So select the image, go to the settings wheel, and then on this open window, select the purple dot that turns into a plus sign. That means I'm going to connect it dynamically to an element within the blog collection list. Make sense? It will in a second. It will now. Click that, okay? And then click Post Image. Now all of the blogs listed have connected to that relevant article's main image, okay? And I'll show you in a second why we wanted all these pictures to be the same size, okay? We're going to do the same thing to the heading and the paragraph. Select it, click the settings wheel, go to the blue dot, connect this to name. Now all of your blog titles are published. Do the same thing to the paragraph. Settings wheel, purple dot, post summary. That's why I showed you when we were creating our blogs that we wanted to have a post summary in there, because I want my users, when they're using this website, to see a little bit about what the article's about before they click on it. Okay. You don't have to have the summary if you don't want to. You can also add a button if you prefer to do that. However you want to style that should be fine. Okay. I don't like them listed one after one like this. We actually want them to be organized in more of a grid format with multiple posts on each line. Okay. So in order to do that, I'm going to come back over here to Navigator. I'm going to select Collection List, and I'm going to apply a class to it called Blog List Grid. Okay, and then I'm going to come down here to Layout and apply Grid to it. Okay, see how it automatically formats it to have both of those on the same line instead of one at a time. Okay, you can adjust the number of columns that you want present, the number of rows that you want present, etc. Since we only have 2, I'm just going to keep it this way. Okay. I'm actually going to space these a little bit. Just my personal preference is to have a little bit more space between images and text. So I'm going to select image and I'm going to give it 15 pixels of margin on the top and bottom. And you see how each post is getting that space. Okay. Here's the reason why we wanted all of our images to be the same size, because inside the grid, we wanted them to align with each other perfectly. It's also why we added a grid. You can see here that this paragraph and this heading on this particular article are longer than the one next to it. If we hadn't gridded that, then this third one below the first one will be trying to align itself a little higher because it sees all that space. But because we put it in a grid, it spaces it out evenly. Make sense? Great. Okay, I mentioned earlier that you can add a button to each of these posts too. If you want to have something that says read full article or see more or something like that, you can do that by just coming to elements and adding a button and placing it wherever you want it to be and formatting it that way. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have the images and the text headings clickable. So your user can just click on the image to go to that article if they want to. The way that you can do that is click the image and right click, wrap in link block. Okay, I'm going to name this class blog image link. And I'm going to grab this settings wheel and I'm going to come over here to collection page and from choose a collection page, current blog post. Okay, now each of these images, when clicked, will take you to that blog post. We're going to do the same thing with the text. Okay, right click it, wrap in link block, blog heading text. Okay, you see that it adds an underline to it, but we are going to remove that because I don't like the underline by coming down to decor and selecting none. Okay, and now we're going to go to the setting wheel again and we're going to connect this to the current blog post page. So now anytime a user clicks on the image or the heading text, it will take them to that article. Okay, couple of styling notes here. And then we'll move on to building our blog post template, which is where we'll design how the page for each article will look. Okay, first design note is come over and select the image. These are just personal preference things again for me, but I don't like square corners on my images. So I'm going to select the image and come down to borders. You see where the rounded corners is selected, but it's at 0 pixels, which means there's nothing being rounded. I'm going to grab that slider and I'm going to pull it over until it's rounded to my liking. Okay. Then I'm going to come down to box shadows, and I'm going to select the box where the color is, make sure it's black, and I'm going to pull the opacity up a little bit until it's to my liking. You can also adjust the direction of the shadow if you want to, okay? And the size and the blur and all that, okay? One more style note to the image and the heading text before we move on. I'm also going to select the image again, and I'm going to come over to this drop down and select hover. I want to see what this element will look like when it's being hovered on, okay? So that's what I just did there. This drop down, select hover. We're going to change the opacity down here to 75. And you saw how they got a little bit lighter. When I turn hover off, you'll see it in its normal state. And now when I hover it, you'll see where the opacity of the image changes. So it looks like it's being selected, okay? It does it a little bit quick for me. So I'm actually gonna come back down here with image selected and select transition. It's gonna transition the opacity for 200 milliseconds, and you can change your ease to something else, okay? But it just gives it a little bit smoother of a transition. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with the heading text. Select the blog heading text link, then select hover from the drop down, come down to opacity, 75, turn hover off, transition, same transition. Now when I hover over the text, it does the same thing. Okay, pretty cool, huh? I'm going to show you one more thing about the grid layout, because when I add more posts, I may want to change from only showing 2 columns to showing 3, just to be able to show more on the same page. But I'll show you how you can customize that so that you know, when you get to the point that you have 50 blogs, they're not all showing on the same page. So with your blog list grid selected, you can go to settings and you can go to limit items. And if I only want it to show 10 on each page, I'll just select 10 there. And if I want to paginate the items, that means I can only show 3 items on each page before they have to go to the next page. If I only want to show 2, I can do that. If I want to show 10 before they have to go to the next page, I can do that, okay? And you see where the page number changes. So until you get more than 10, they'll all be on the same page. But as soon as you post more than 10 articles, then the user will have the ability to change the page to look at more articles. Okay, pretty cool. Now that the blog page is done, we can go and adjust our blog post page by selecting the page icon, coming down under CMS Collection Pages, and editing our blog post template. So all we're going to do is edit the template once, and it will apply to all of the blogs that we already have posted and the ones that we're going to post in the future. You notice up here where it says blog post template, right to the right of it, you'll see which article you're actually looking at. But this will apply to all of them that are already posted. And once we start designing, you'll be able to sift through and look at whichever one you want to look at. Okay, so it's a blank canvas again. So we're going to start with the same components that we started with earlier by clicking on components and adding our header, call it a nav bar, whatever you want to call it. Do the same thing with footer. Okay? And then we're going to add our section. Again, we're going to reposition it so that it's in the middle. Now with section selected, we're going to do all the same stuff. Add our container. Under style, we're going to change our max width to 90%. And now with container selected, we can start adding our stuff in like before. Heading, I'm going to wrap heading in a div block. I'm going to call it blog post template main. Okay, now with that div block selected, we're going to keep adding our elements. Okay, for the purposes of this video, I'm gonna blast through this next piece, but I'll show you in a second why I don't really like the way this image is going to look. So I would actually use a different sized image for the blog post template page. But for the purposes of this video, I just want to show you how to do it. Okay, with the div block selected again, now I'm going to add rich text. Okay. Now that rich text is in there, I'm going to select the purple dynamic button and I'm going to put the post body. Now that article's post body has been connected. As I said before, if you want to see how it looks on each article, you can just click this and sift through your articles. Okay, there looks to be some style issues here, which we can clean up, but all in all, the article is in there. Now all I have to do is change the color of the text in certain spots and everything will be fine with the post. Okay, so here's the reason why you want to make sure each article looks okay. You want to sift through them and not just take Webflow's word for it that everything is ready to be published, because even though I didn't have to connect each individual article's text to each page, I may have to change some styling elements. Because here, I've got some text that's white that I don't want to be white, and this text is blue. I don't want that to be blue. So there may be some style changes that you want to make in each article, but all in all, your blog post template page has been connected to your collection items, and you don't have to add each one, okay? We'll do the same connecting to our individual elements here with the heading by selecting the purple dot and putting the blog post name here, and same thing with the image. Okay, this is the piece that I don't really like. I don't like that the image is small, doesn't take up the whole thing. Even if I click this and wrap it in a div block and center it, it's centered. And this may look okay on mobile. Actually looks pretty good on mobile so far, but I may want to add a different sized image. Just really kind of up to you, but that's how you can get that in there. Okay, and then I'm going to adjust the spacing again so that there's a little more space between the images and the text. And I'm actually going to, if I just change these headings to heading 5, that's the quickest way to get the color changed to black. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with rounding the corners and making the image pop out with a shadow just a little bit. So round those corners and then box shadow, take it out to X a little bit and a little bit more opacity on the shadow itself. Okay, all design preference, but all of those are available to you. And the cool thing about it is, again, it applies all those changes to every article all at once. You don't have to do it, except for the style changes here. Okay, and that is how you publish a blog on Webflow using CMS Collection Lists, how you design a blog landing page and make it look good, and how you design your blog post templates pages. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for more digital marketing tutorials to make your agency life easier. Thanks, y'all. See you later.